Okay, is this all set up? Right. Let's try that. Okay. First YouTube video in a minute. I hope the lighting in here is okay. This is the new room, but that's not what this video is about. Anyway, so by the title of the video, you can tell what happened. So I'm just gonna get into it. So a little bit of backstory if you're not new, if you're new to the channel, don't really know what's going on. Both me and my girlfriend that live with me, we go to school in downtown Atlanta at Georgia State, and it was the first night of classes, so it would have been last Monday, so like the 22nd, I don't know, somewhere around there. We went to class, and then we take the train, the public transport system in Atlanta is called MARTA, Metro Atlanta Rapid Transport, something like that. And so we got on the train. We ride the train from downtown, where all the class buildings are, to the northmost station. Then we get in our car, we park there, and we get in our car, and we drive the rest of the way home. And so we get on the train, and our classes on Monday don't let out till fairly late. So I think it was probably like 8:30 when we got on the train, somewhere close to there. And so we get on the train, and down at the other end of the train, there are these 4 kids that are, like, I notice them when we get on because they're like kind of screaming and yelling and being rowdy, but I don't pay them any attention because why would I? Anyway, so we sit down, train starts moving, while I'm like on my phone doing whatever, and eventually these kids kind of wander down towards our end of the train, and they're kind of like swinging on the handrails and just being obnoxious. But I didn't really say anything to them, and then eventually one of them turned around and started like talking to JC and like really like hardcore hitting on JC, and she was sitting next to me, and she just wasn't responding to them at all. So I was kind of just, I was just sitting there with her, kind of just like looking at these guys like, what the fuck are you doing? She didn't want to talk to you, obviously. And so they kept, like, this one kid kept doing it, and then the other 3 came over, and they were all trying to kind of get close and everything. So I was kind of like, hey guys, look, we're not interested, can you just leave us alone? And they're like, oh, you don't want to talk to us? You don't want to talk to us? Man, your girl's pretty, she wants to talk to us, why won't she? So, right, they just kind of like kept going, and this kind of kept escalating, and they started saying they were going to kick my ass, and like take turns on my girlfriend. So I was kind of starting to get a little bit defensive because there's 4 of these kids, and I say kids, I think the youngest one, 2 of them ended up being like 13, but one of them was like 16, and the other one I think was like 16 or 17. And it was mainly those 2 that were doing it. So they were older kids, and they're about my size. But so, and they kept being rowdy, and I was eventually I was like, dude, go away, fuck off, go away. I'm not dealing with you guys tonight. I don't want to talk to you. She doesn't want to talk to you. Leave us alone, right? And they didn't. This kind of kept continuing, and even like some of the other passengers, there was a guy sitting like across the aisle from us. They grabbed one of them by the arm, and he was not old, but he was older. He was probably mid-30s or something like that. And he was like, hey, leave these kids alone. They're not bothering you. They don't, like, you're just causing, like, you're just over here to make trouble. And so it kind of kept escalating. They were getting real close and talking about how they were going to kick my ass or whatever. And so then, this is where the story gets real interesting. So we get to one of the stations. The station is 2 away from us. I think it's 2 away from us. Anyway, the station, if you live in Atlanta, you might know Dunwoody. We got to the Dunwoody station. They had kept saying that like when we got to our station, they were gonna follow us and like beat my ass and all this kind of shit. And so we get to the Dunwoody station, and I had heard them kind of say earlier that that's where they were going. So I was just like, whatever, just ignore them. They're gonna get off the train before us. No worries, right? Well, okay. So the doors open up at the Dunwoody station, and I'm just kind of like, finally, right, like the kid, like 2 of them get off, right, and the third one like stops and kind of turns around, and then like the fourth one like steps out in front of me and as hard as he can like sucker punched me in the right eyeball. And I fucking just like my head flew back and I for a second had no idea what was going on. And then the third kid and the fourth kid like sprinted off the train and they're fucking giggling and shit. So I ran off the train after him, and JC tried to stop me. She ripped the shit out of my shirt as I chased after him, and I fucking went flying through this damn thing. And they went down the flight of stairs, and I have never gone down a flight of stairs that fast in my life. I went down 2 flights of stairs in like 4 seconds. I was taking them like 7 or 8 steps at a time. And so they were like slipping out of the emergency gate. You can press and like an alarm goes off and you can go out the gate. You don't have to pay or anything like that. And so 3 of them made it out of the gate, and I grabbed the last one and like put him in a headlock. And my plan, I was gonna hold him until the cops got there, but the other 3 slipped like back underneath. I wasn't sure where they came from. I wasn't focused on them, but I think they slipped back under like where you have to pay and then you tap your card and the gates open. I think they went like under or over the gate somehow, or maybe they came back into the emergency gate. I don't know. But anyway, so then they circled up around me and they were like, I guess gonna get ready to fight me or whatever, and they were like, yo, let him go. You need to let him go right now. And I was like, I wasn't going to, but then I thought, well shit man, if one of them like pulls even like a pocket knife or has a gun or something like that, like what am I gonna do? It's 4-on-1. I can't fucking kick the shit out of all of them. But so anyway, so I let him go, and at this point like people in the station are coming over and they're like, oh my god, what happened? I'll call the police, I'll give you a ride, do you need me to call an ambulance, blah blah, because like my eye was all swollen. And I'll put pictures from my Snapchat, link to my Snapchat in the description, you should follow me. I'll put the pictures from my Snapchat up. Like my eye, at this point my eye had like swollen closed, and so I called the police, and I kind of told them, I was like, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what happened, I need an officer here. They were like, yeah, we wanted you to fill out a report and whatever. I was like, okay. I called JC, and apparently there's similar things that happened on the train. As soon as they hit me and ran off the train, the people on the train came over and they're like, oh my god, we saw everything that happened, we'll call the police, we'll call your boyfriend, are you okay, did they hit you, blah 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 blah. So she rode the train the next like 2 or 3 stops back to where we normally go, and that's when I called her, and she was talking with the police at that station, and like she gave them a whole statement, and eventually, and I gotta like, so in Atlanta, the MARTA system, the public transport system, has their own police department. Like they have, I don't know how it's integrated into the whatever, but like they have their own like cars and uniforms and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say once they got there, they were awesome, but it took them a minute to get there. It took them probably 25 minutes, almost half an hour, to get to the platform I was at. And once they got there, like I talked to the officer I was with, I started filling out my police report, and I kind of gave them a description. It was 4 kids. One of them had a tattoo, one of them was in a yellow shirt, one of them was in a white shirt with khaki pants, which I'm pretty sure that was the one that hit me. That was the kid in the yellow shirt. That's why I remember those 2, because those 2 were the older ones and one of them hit me. And so I was in there, and he put out a call to any other officers in the area, and he was like, look, they probably don't have a car, this is probably, they have to come back to this station to go home, probably, right? I was like, okay. And apparently at the station, like right across like the street, there's like an avenue, like 2 one-way streets or whatever, and there's a mall, there's like a big mall. And so an officer went over there and was just kind of driving around and found 4 kids that matched the description. Again, I say kids, they're teenagers. Found the guys that matched the description, and they were like, hey, can you come identify them? So I was like, yeah. So I got in the back of the officer I was with, I got in the back of his squad car, and we went over there, and they had them all like in handcuffs sitting on the curb, and there was like 4 or 5 squad cars there. I have a video of it. Yes, sir. That's them.
Which one did it, you know?
It's either the one, I think it's the one with the white shirt and the belt, that or the yellow shirt, taller kid. It was definitely them. I ID'd them. And so then we came back to the station, and at that point they like sat me in the conference room. They were like, look, we're gonna, you know, they're gonna be arrested, so just you need to stay in here until we're done processing them. And like I told them which one hit me, so then they brought the kids in, and the officers kind of kept giving me updates, because at this point we had been at the precinct, like since the police had got there, since it happened, it had probably been like 3 hours. At this point it's like almost 10 o'clock probably 10:30, 10:45, and so the officer that was with JC at the northmost station where we were supposed to be going, she came to the station I was at, and so she was in the room with me, and we had to fill out, we had to like sign our police reports and all that kind of stuff, and we ID'd the kids, but then like none of them would confess to doing it, so they had to like book all of them or something like that, and they were trying to get in touch with the kids' parents, and the kids kept giving them like fake names and phone numbers. Like they kept giving them like their friends' phone numbers and stuff instead of their parents' phone numbers, so they were trying to figure out who the kids' parents were and like where, like what the hell was going on. And so eventually they were like, look, none of them are going to confess to it, so they're all going to get charged with felony assault. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever you guys, you know, however that works, whatever. And they're like, alright, you're free to go. And that was really kind of it. But it was, and I'll show the clips and the pictures I took the next morning of my eye. It was all like, it didn't bruise, like I didn't have like a black eye, but like my eyeball was like, had a big red patch. So I don't know if that's like a popped blood vessel, or I'm not an eye doctor, I don't know what that is. But it hurt like shit, and like I had this like blurry patch of vision down here for a couple days. It's mainly gone away now. It doesn't really hurt anymore. But that was the story of me getting punched on MARTA last week. And so I thought it'd be a good video to throw at you guys, because I've not made any videos in a couple weeks. I've still got, like, there's still Texas footage that I gotta edit. There's still all that footage from Savannah that I'm gonna try and edit today, which there's a real cool, like, I got this in Savannah, and none of you guys have seen that yet. So, like, that's all going to be in that video, and then I've still got to do a kind of room reveal. This is the new room we've been working on, if you followed the room build series at all. It is done. We're sleeping in here, we're living in here, I got all my computer set up behind the camera. But there's still, like, boxes and... Okay, well, the camera just cut out while I was talking, so I'll take that to mean that I've been talking for too long. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, hose me in the comments for getting in a fight or whatever. I don't really care. Stick around if you like the video. I don't try to get in fights very often, so you know I might be kind of boring from here on out, but whatever.